The human spirit, even when confronted with the abyss of unimaginable horror, possesses an enduring capacity for resilience and resistance. Nowhere is this more profoundly evident than in the story of Sobibór, a Nazi German extermination camp where, against all odds, prisoners rose up in mass defiance. This is not just a chronicle of death and despair, but a testament to the courage and ingenuity of those who refused to be passive victims in the face of systematic annihilation. Sobibór, situated in a secluded forest near the village of Sobibór in the present-day Polish province of Lublin, became a symbol of this extraordinary resistance when on October 14, 1943, its captive population staged a daring revolt. Their coordinated attack on their SS overseers and Ukrainian guards, though resulting in heavy casualties during the escape attempt, ultimately led to the camp's closure and stands as a powerful act of defiance against the Holocaust. Sobibór was conceived and constructed in the early spring of 1942 as one of the three principal extermination camps of Operation Reinhard, the deadliest phase of the Holocaust, aimed at the systematic murder of the Jewish population in German-occupied Poland. Its isolated location, nestled within the dense forests of eastern Poland, was deliberately chosen to conceal the atrocities unfolding within its barbed wire perimeter. This remoteness served a dual purpose for the Nazi regime: to facilitate the uninterrupted mass murder of Jews transported from across Europe and to shroud their heinous actions in secrecy, away from the eyes of the world. Estimates suggest that between 170,000 and 250,000 individuals, predominantly Jews from Poland and occupied areas of the Soviet Union, were murdered in Sobibór's gas chambers during its operation from May 1942 to October 1943. The difficulty in obtaining precise figures underscores the extent to which the Nazi regime attempted to obliterate all traces of their crimes. The daily existence within Sobibór was a brutal and dehumanizing ordeal, designed to strip prisoners of their dignity and will to live. The camp was meticulously divided into distinct zones: Camp 1, the administration area; Camp 2, the reception area; and Camp 3, the extermination zone. This compartmentalization was a calculated strategy to maintain the illusion of a transit camp for newly arrived victims. Upon arrival, transports of 40 to 60 freight cars would reach the camp's railway station, where deportees were met with deceptive announcements of impending transfer to labor camps after undergoing bathing and disinfection. This elaborate deception, including barracks deceptively labeled as showers, was crucial in preventing panic and maintaining order until the moment of extermination. A small fraction of each transport, those deemed fit or possessing specific skills, were selected for temporary forced labor within the camp. These prisoners were exploited in various capacities, from sorting the belongings of those murdered in the gas chambers to cleaning and maintaining the camp facilities. Some were even forced to work in the horrifying Sonderkommandos in Camp 3, directly involved in the removal and burial of bodies. The living conditions for these laborers were atrocious, characterized by meager rations, inadequate sanitation, and the constant threat of disease and selection for the gas chambers if they became too weak or ill to work. This constant precarity, where survival was contingent on maintaining physical strength, added another layer of torment to their already unbearable circumstances. The psychological impact of witnessing the daily mass murder and the complicity forced upon some prisoners in the extermination process created an environment of profound despair, with some individuals even resorting to suicide. The deliberate infliction of such psychological trauma was a key element of the Nazi strategy to break the prisoner's spirit and eliminate any potential for resistance. Despite the pervasive atmosphere of terror and despair, the flame of resistance was never entirely extinguished within Sobibór. Even before the mass uprising of October 1943, there were isolated acts of defiance and attempts to escape. Initial ideas for revolt emerged from Polish Jewish prisoners, and a separate escape plan was conceived by Dutch Jews, though it was ultimately betrayed. These early, albeit unsuccessful, efforts indicate a persistent desire among the prisoners to fight back against their oppressors. The formation of a more organized underground resistance began in the spring of 1943, led by Leon Feldhendler, a Polish Jew who had previously headed the Judenrat in Żółkiewka. Feldhendler's prior leadership experience within the Jewish community likely provided him with the organizational skills and the respect necessary to initiate and guide the resistance efforts within the camp. A pivotal moment arrived in late September 1943 with the transport of Jewish Soviet Red Army prisoners of war from Minsk, among them Lieutenant Alexander Pechersky. The arrival of these soldiers, possessing military training and combat experience, injected a new level of strategic and tactical expertise into the existing resistance movement. Feldhendler and Pechersky quickly forged a collaborative leadership, with Feldhendler representing the old prisoners, who possessed intimate knowledge of the camp's layout and operations, and Pechersky bringing his military acumen to the planning of a mass escape. Their combined efforts resulted in a detailed and audacious plan centered on a coordinated attack on the camp's SS personnel, followed by a mass breakout during the evening roll call. This strategy, relying on surprise and the elimination of key SS officers, demonstrated a sophisticated understanding of the camp's power dynamics and the vulnerabilities that could be exploited by the prisoners. The meticulously planned uprising commenced on the afternoon of October 14, 1943. Small groups of prisoners, under various pretexts, lured SS officers into workshops and other secluded areas, where they were silently killed using axes, knives, and other makeshift weapons. Among the first to fall were Johann Niemann, the deputy commandant, and SS NCO Josef Wolf. This carefully orchestrated elimination of key personnel aimed to disorganize the remaining SS and prevent them from effectively responding to the mass escape. However, the plan was prematurely exposed when the remaining camp personnel became suspicious, possibly discovering the body of one of the murdered officers. This led to the SS opening fire on the assembled prisoners, forcing them to initiate the mass escape under a hail of bullets. In a desperate bid for freedom, approximately 300 of the roughly 600 prisoners attempted to flee the camp, scaling barbed wire fences and braving a heavily mined perimeter under the relentless fire of machine guns. The decision to risk certain death in the minefield, rather than remain in the clutches of the Nazi extermination machine, underscores the profound desperation and unwavering will to survive that fueled their actions. The immediate aftermath of the escape was marked by tragedy and a brutal Nazi response. While around 300 prisoners managed to break out of the camp, many were killed during the escape itself by gunfire and landmines. In total, the prisoners killed 11 to 12 members of the Sobibór SS staff during the uprising. The Nazi regime immediately launched a massive manhunt involving SS, police, and German army units to recapture the escapees. This intense pursuit highlights the regime's fear of news spreading about a successful revolt in a death camp. Tragically, all the prisoners who remained in Sobibór after the escape attempt were executed by the SS on the following day, October 15, 1943. This act of extreme brutality underscores the Nazis' determination to eliminate any witnesses to the uprising and their horrific crimes. Despite the heavy losses during and after the escape, a small number of prisoners managed to evade the Nazi manhunt and survive the war. Estimates suggest that around 50 to 60 of the escapees lived to see the end of World War II. Their survival against such overwhelming odds is a testament to their resilience and the courage of those who aided them. The experiences of the escapees after fleeing Sobibór were varied. Some found refuge with sympathetic members of the local Polish population, while others joined partisan groups fighting against the German occupation. Tragically, some were also betrayed to the Germans or fell victim to anti-Semitic violence. The stories of notable survivors like Chaim Engel, Selma Weinberg, Thomas Blatt, and Regina Zielinski provide invaluable first-hand accounts of the horrors of Sobibór, the planning and execution of the uprising, and the immense challenges they faced in their struggle for survival. Their testimonies serve as crucial historical documents, preserving the memory of the victims and the bravery of the resistors, especially given the Nazis' extensive efforts to erase all evidence of their crimes. The immediate and direct consequence of the prisoner uprising at Sobibór was the decision by the German SS to close the extermination camp. This act of defiance by the prisoners exposed a significant failure in the Nazi system of control and made the continued operation of the camp untenable. In a desperate attempt to conceal the atrocities committed at Sobibór from the advancing Red Army and the world, the Nazis undertook a systematic demolition of the camp. Jewish prisoners from the Treblinka death camp were brought to Sobibór to dismantle the barracks and gas chambers, and after completing this grim task, they too were executed on the campgrounds. This meticulous effort to erase all physical evidence of the camp and eliminate potential witnesses underscores the Nazi regime's awareness of the criminal nature of their actions and their desperate attempts to avoid accountability. In a final act of deception, the Nazis even established an inconspicuous farm on the site, planting a pine forest over the remnants of the camp to further conceal its horrific past. The mass escape from Sobibór holds profound historical significance as one of the most successful acts of resistance by Jewish prisoners against the Nazi extermination program during the Holocaust. Alongside the uprisings in Treblinka and Auschwitz-Birkenau, it stands as a powerful testament to the courage and determination of individuals who refuse to passively accept their fate in the face of unimaginable cruelty. The Sobibór Uprising directly led to the camp's closure, disrupting the Nazi killing machinery in that location, even if the overall extermination program continued elsewhere. While it did not halt the Holocaust, the closure of Sobibór represented a tangible victory for the prisoners and potentially saved the lives of those who would have been deported there in the future. The enduring legacy of the Sobibór escape serves as a beacon of hope and a powerful reminder of the human spirit's unyielding will to survive and resist oppression, even in the darkest of times. Efforts to commemorate the victims and honor the bravery of the resistors continue through the Sobibór Museum and ongoing archaeological investigations at the site. These endeavors ensure that the memory of Sobibór and its courageous uprising is not forgotten, contributing to a deeper understanding of the Holocaust and its enduring lessons for humanity. In conclusion, the story of the Sobibór Uprising is a powerful testament to the indomitable spirit of humanity in the face of unimaginable evil. From the depths of despair and the grim reality of a Nazi extermination camp, a group of prisoners, led by Leon Feldhendler and Alexander Peshersky, orchestrated a daring escape that defied the odds. While the attempt resulted in significant loss of life, it ultimately led to the closure of Sobibór and stands as a remarkable act of resistance against the Holocaust. The legacy of Sobibór continues to inspire, reminding us of the importance of courage, resilience, and the refusal to surrender to oppression, even in the darkest chapters of human history.